Well, we're here with the MV Core here on WLJS. How's it going?
It's going all right, man.
Cool. It Calls You, newest album came out October 23rd, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. You guys been playing some shows on it?
Yeah, we've since then, we've been playing. We're from Des Moines, Iowa, so we've been playing the Midwest quite a bit on top of that record, and then coming up in March and April, we're going south to South by Southwest, and then heading west and going up to the West Coast. So I have some shows coming up in the next few months, but time being, we've just been trying to figure out how to play this record live, and so it's kind of testing it closer to home.
I was going to ask, because the record is, by comparison to Dwell, is a lot, there's a lot going on, a lot more going on, it seems like. How difficult is it to actually get that harnessed into a live situation?
If you got to pick and choose, I guess we only are a 4-piece, so we do use like samples and stuff live. We'll be triggering stuff, like our bass player, keyboard player kind of does a lot more than you would think. But, whenever we make a record, we make it the way we want to make it in the studio, kind of without any regard of how we're going to end up playing it live. And then we just end up getting in a room afterwards and picking out the bits that, you need to play, I guess, to get the idea of the song across best. Mm-hmm. So, when we play live, it ends up being a little maybe heavier, faster, more intense, that kind of thing, just because I think we're trying to make up for the fact that, we can't bring like a string section or anything with us.
Right.
So.
What got you guys really into experimenting? For those, out there who are listening that've never heard MV Core before, what got you into experimenting with the soundscapes and things that you guys use?
We're all kind of like studio nerds and, music gear nerds. So between records, we're always looking online or going to weird pawn shops and stuff, trying to find new instruments to play. And this time around, actually, one of the things we used a lot was a guitar made by Moog, who makes all those, they make those synthesizers. Mm-hmm. They kind of started the whole synthesizer thing, but they make a guitar now that doesn't sound like a guitar at all. It sounds more like a cello. The way you play it is totally different. So our guitar player got a hold of one of those, and once we started using it, we couldn't stop. So it's probably on every song. But I think as a band, that's the most fun that we have is we have our own little studio there in Des Moines, and we just get together and play each other song ideas or, play with our new instruments and stuff. It's the most fun that we have together, I think, is just getting in the room and doing that.
How much of it is a kind of a jam, organic aspect? Do you sit down with some sort of song structure on a whiteboard, or is it just you kind of one person has a new instrument and starts to play and then everyone else kind of folds in?
I guess I would call myself the songwriter of the band, just because I'll bring in the skeleton, if you will, like maybe some chords and a melody, some lyrics or something. But yeah, once we get in a room and we're throwing out choruses and verses and things like that, kind of a free for all, and everyone's just jumping between different instruments and trying to figure out a cool new sound to throw at a song. I guess it's organic in that way, that the sounds that we end up recording are just from hours and hours of us playing the same thing over and over again, and mm-hmm. people trying different stuff.
Now this we mentioned before Dwell, which came out in 2008. The newer record seems a lot more expansive. It seems like because you guys had a couple years to really sit down and mull it over. What caused the kind of evolution and the change? Was it that organicness of the song?
We had a lot of changes between Dwell and It Calls You. I think the main one is Dwell was put out by Universal Records, Vertigo Records, which is part of Universal. Mm-hmm. Record labels, of course, they want to make money, and I won't demonize them, but they heard songs that we did that were poppier, and they wanted us to focus on those, and so we did. And I think this time, we're not on that label anymore, and so we put this record out ourselves, made for it all ourselves, and we recorded it, mostly by ourselves. So I think this kind of music is exactly what we wanted to put out at this time. For us, there was no outside influence at all. So I guess the sound has changed from Dwell. It's because I think it's more true to what we wanted to do as a band.
Well, it definitely is. I believe personally, from because that was when I got into you guys, was on Dwell.
Oh, cool.
And hearing it now, hearing It Calls You, it sounds completely different, but it's still rooted in the same band, and I think It Calls You just absolutely blows it away.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are just amazing. Anyone out there who is listening right now who's never heard MVCore, go to mvcore.com and you can stream some tracks off the new album. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you can stream the whole record.
Oh, really?
On the website, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So definitely, if you can hear my voice right now, go do it. So you guys have the joke that you're what is it, Radiohead for Coldplay fans?
Yeah.
What are the influences? Because I mean, that's what it is for me.
Yeah, that is a joke based on we have these friends that in Des Moines that have like a T-shirt company, and that's their whole thing is like kind of witty slogans about. It's essentially self-deprecating to Iowa. So they wanted to make a T-shirt with us, and we were trying to do kind of the same thing. And people, they're always throwing out bands that we sound like, and Radiohead and Coldplay are two of them. I can hear the Radiohead sometimes, but Coldplay, I don't know. But anyway, that's what, it was a phrase that popped out of my mouth when we were kind of brainstorming this idea, and it just seemed really funny. And I think for people, there are fans, there are people that are our fans that get the joke and they love the shirt, and then there are people that completely don't get the joke and they buy the shirt anyway. It was all for a T-shirt, and it's all kind of an inside joke. But as far as like influences that we would consider true influences to the band, serious ones. I mean, we all grew up listening to Radiohead, and I think when the band actually formed, like that was one of the bands that we all were into, and that was a common band for us. But lately, I mean, I guess changes from record to record, like what we're listening to. But on It Calls You, like there was some weird stuff. We were listening to some 70s German krautrock. Like I was listening to some reggae because I started playing. I played the bass on this record, which I hadn't played the bass before because our bass player left the band after 12. But so I was listening to reggae and this krautrock stuff to like try and figure out how to play the bass. But we love bands like the Flaming Lips, Mute Mass. Those are, I guess, some modern bands that we look up to. My Morning Jacket, those are all great bands.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that you were listening to reggae, because listening through It Calls You, I don't know if I was hallucinating or not, but I heard some strange far-off reggae influences in my own head. And it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm not crazy.
We definitely stole some. There might be some samples off some old records.
All right, cool. Well, we've been talking with the MVCore. Stay tuned. We're going to spin a new track by them. And yeah, mvcore.com. Go check them out. Unbelievable. Thanks for talking with us, man.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew.